Hey, Paul here at Affinity Harmonics, and today we're going to explore 3 ways to expand inspiration while writing, producing, or just playing music in your DAW of choice. Let's get inspired. So, a bit of a precursor, we are going to be using Ableton as the choice of DAW for this exercise. But no worries if you don't own it or have any of the specific plugins we're using. You can take these tips and apply it with your own software that you already have at your disposal. So let's get with number 1, Reverb. Okay, yes, we've all used Reverb before, but it's not about if you have, it's about how you use it. So I'm going to show you my favorite ways to juice up plugins using Reverb. So I have a brand new Poly preset Kontakt patch loaded, which is the latest addition to the Affinity SK50D Kontakt library collection. It's loaded on its own track in Ableton. That gives me the most control and flexibility with what I can actually do with each instance I load up. So looking inside the plugin here, I have the first bank enabled. Let's hear how it sounds dry just to get a feel of what we're actually working with. So what you are hearing is actual true analog filtered samples from the original SK50D instrument, which this was inspired from. Now to get a bit more body, I want to extend the tail end of the sound naturally, and I can do this by adjusting the amp section in the ADSR page. So I'm just going to add the release a little bit here. That should give me a bit more body to the sound. Awesome, so this is pretty dry as a bone right now, so let's spruce it up with the first hint of reverb. There's a nice built-in convolution reverb, so let's start with that by enabling it. Alright, it's already sounding better. Let's keep enhancing it. Now, I like to add reverb in layers, as this gives me a much more natural sounding soundscape. I like to achieve this by running a short, medium, and large reverb in parallel to bring out some of the width to this vintage mono synth. I set up my reverbs on an aux bus. This is going to run different between which DAW you are using, but it saves me using a million reverb instances and can easily control the amount I send on a track-by-track basis. So let's send some of the signal on track 1 to the first aux bus with a short reverb on it. How short? Very short. Under 1 second delay time on this reverb. Sounds great, right? Now, using the same method, I'm going to send another 75% to a large hall that I have set up on this D channel here. And that should give us a nice cathedral sound, which will work nice. There we go, now we're getting a fat stereo field. Now you can see how just adding a little bit of reverb can really juice up the inspirational flavors from our original chord progression. So in our next tip, we're going to be exploring how we can use multiple instances to really juice up the inspiration factor while working creatively on your musical project. Now sometimes easy things to do are easy things not to do, just like mixing and matching multiple instances of what you already have. So I have a duplicated instance of the Poly preset module here, and I'm going to make a variation to complement the first one. Now I'm going to add the unison by flicking the switch here and adjusting the attack in the amp section. I'm also going to drop an octave in Ableton here using the pitch control. Now let's hear it layered over the first. That's already sounding a lot bigger. So another thing I like to do is mixing and matching other instances and VSTs together to get something really big and unique. I'm going to add some bass to this. I'm going to pull up the bass module here on another track and fine tune it just a bit. Let's hear how that sounds. Much better, but I also want to add a little bit of the polymanual synth. I'm going to be using the Forgotten Odyssey preset here. So let's bring that up now. So rich. Let's add another instance, but this time let's use the solo synth for an even deeper sense of depth. So I'm gonna load that up now. I like the preset Sally. Let's hear how that sounds. And finally, I'm going to load an upper organ patch, which also brings us to our final tip, motion. Now there are many ways you can add motion to a sound. You can use step sequencers, delays. In our case, we're going to use an arpeggiator. I'm also going to fool around with the settings here. That sounds pretty good. Let's hear it all together now. That's what I'm talking about. So if you liked what you heard, the SK50D Kontakt library version 1.1 is out now, which includes the new poly preset module here. And you can now get that poly preset demo completely free when you join our Affinity and Beyond monthly newsletter. And the links are in the description below. So I have a question. What's your favorite way to stay inspired in the studio? I'm curious, and I'm sure everyone else is too, so let me know in the comments below. My name is Paul at Affinity Harmonics, and we'll see you next month with more tutorials and introducing a brand new artist to our roster. I'll see you next time.